Welcome, my loves, to another episode of Happy Whole Life podcast. As always, I invite you to let these episodes be an invitation, a cue to your body, your soul, your spirit, that it's safe to soften, that it's safe to let your soul breathe more deeply, that it's safe to be present with yourself, that it's safe to simply lean back and let yourself receive whatever nutrients your soul is craving to receive. And today we are talking about finding your groove, finding your rhythm in your business, repositioning the soul coordinates of your business if you felt like you've got a little bit lost. And I'm going to share with you my experience of taking a month off in my business earlier this year and all the lessons that I learned from taking a step back, witnessing my own business from this bird's eye projector view, and recognizing the places in my business where I wasn't happy, where I was no longer in pleasure, where it no longer felt like home. And to be honest, it was really scary because my business has been this constant, this just solid pillar of my life for the last 5 years. I filed for my LLC back in September of 2018. So my business has been a part of my life for a really fucking long time. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and it's simultaneously not long at all, right? 5 years is a long time, and I plan to be doing this for the rest of my life, some version of this soul work, whatever it might look like. And I think it's so important in order to have a business that is sustainable and prosperous in the long run, that brings you closer to yourself, that brings you closer to your soul's purpose. A business like that is a business that lasts, right? That doesn't lead to burnout or unhappiness within ourselves, right? Because so many of us start businesses because we want to be our own CEOs. We want to be the fucking boss and make the decisions and make the calls and move and flow and flirt and sell and play at our own pace, not to suffer and struggle. And I realized for myself towards the end of last year, towards the end of 2022, hi Lunupi. Lunupi's like making sleepy noises in the background, but I realized that I wasn't happy in my business anymore. And it was quite dysregulating and disconcerting to have that realization. And I think back again. If you haven't listened to the episode of Detoxing the Language of the People Pleaser Good Girl, I invite you to tune into that episode. It's one of my favorites, and I feel one of just the most potent tools for self-awareness and self-leadership and shifting identities, because certainly sometimes when I say the words I think, there's no people-pleasing energy around it. I'm just saying, this is what I think. But even just then, when I said like, oh, I think, I could feel this flicker of not wanting to just own exactly what the next thing that was going to come out of my mouth was, which was I led myself to a place in my business where I was unhappy. And to have to face that this was me. This was me being subtly out of alignment with my own soul. This was me not being willing to slow down and properly rest my projector soul. This was me getting a bit caught up in the industry and moving quickly in this pressure to keep earning and keep exploding and keep expanding, that I was subtly moving away from my own heart. And for me, if any part of my life, my business, my work starts to bring me further away from myself, that's how I know, like, this is not it. Because anything that's bringing me further away from my true north, my just deepest soul knowing, it's not for me. And yes, I want things to expand me. Yes, I want things to invite me to relate to new and different pockets of my soul that maybe I didn't know exist. And maybe for a moment, it feels like I'm getting further away from myself, when in reality, I'm simply deepening into a part of myself that I didn't know existed yet. But for me, I could tell I'd gotten a bit caught up in the go, 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 like hustle, like keep growing. You're never going to be satisfied unless you hit the next blah, blah, blah. And it just, I laugh a bit now because it's so not me. And And I can laugh now because I realize like, oh, that way of being in business is just not me. I am a slow and soft and sensitive soul. And that doesn't mean I'm not full of grit. It doesn't mean that I'm not fierce and powerful as fuck. And I get to own that I'm soft and that I'm sensitive and that I like to move slowly. Like I love for my life to feel like I'm a fucking mermaid, just like swimming in the ocean. And sometimes I want to swim fast. And sometimes I just want to like lay on my back and float in the ocean. Also, just as I did that. For those of you, we're uploading the videos for the podcast on YouTube now who cannot see what I'm doing if you're listening on Spotify or Apple. I actually went jet skiing yesterday in Austin. I'm back home today, but my arms are so fucking sore and I just stretched out my arms like expand and I was like, oh fuck. Oh, so if this could be your cue if there's any part of your body that wants to stretch it out a bit, like, ooh, stretch it out, expand your soul. But anyways, getting into why I took a month off my business earlier this year and the lessons that I learned about reigniting the spark of pleasure and delight and enchantment, refinding or even recreating your rhythm, connecting with your true rhythm in your business, because a business, again, that will prosper and leave a legacy that will outlive you is a business that is in alignment, like such deep alignment with who you are, not what every other coach on the internet has ever said about how you're supposed to run a business or what it's supposed to look like when you show up on social media or the kind of content you're supposed to create. It's moving your own pace. You're on time. You're made of time. Your timeline is perfect. And I actually moved to Mexico earlier this year. Back in January, I lived there for a while during the winter to escape the Michigan cold. And I actually have a whole podcast episode on that. It's the very first episode if you want to listen to my experience of living alone in Mexico. But I just felt this call that I needed to be by the ocean. And I needed to be closer to the earth. And I needed to practice being independent. So I've been in a long-term relationship for the last 12 years and it's so beautiful and so nourishing. And I could feel the ways in which I was starting to collapse into that relationship and not fully hold myself and not fully lead my own life, but instead kind of be in the comfort of having somebody else take care of me in a lot of ways. And my business had always been this portal where it was like, it's me. It's like, this is my creative project. This is my art. This is my work. And in a lot of ways, I feel like I overcompensated with needing my business to be this thing that I could see grow and expand without really checking in enough with my own soul of like, how does this feel? Like, are we feeling good or are we not? And I ended up pausing everything back in January. I stopped launching the program that I was launching, which was actually Naughty Content Challenge. And that program actually is currently making a comeback and will be fully back for a live round in the fall. So I will have the link for that in, what's it called? I will set in my bio in the show notes, as well as a discount code for the flash sale that is currently happening for anyone who is craving a bit of naughty content medicine, a little stepping into this era of being so outrageously you on social media and just having fuck tons of fun again. Because social media is not meant to be a thing where you grip and you control and you constrict your heart and your voice and contort yourself to be whoever everyone else wants you to be. Instagram, social media is an opportunity for your inner artist to soar. It's an opportunity for you to receive the gift of your own medicine, receive the gift of what it's like to express yourself freely and fully and to live bravely and courageously for yourself. Like, to me, like that's the portal of Instagram. That's the portal of creating content. It's creating content first and foremost for your own soul, for yourself. And again, this is one of the pieces where I started to get a little bit lost. I started to feel pressure, like I needed to create content around business and marketing because I'm a business coach. And in my deepest, if I tune into like my deepest heart of hearts, I love working with entrepreneurs. I absolutely am a business mentor, and the texture, the specific nutrients of business mentorship that I offer are simply a lot different than a lot of other business coaches in the industry. And For a long time, I was afraid to own that. I was afraid to be direct about, hey, I work with entrepreneurs in the realms of helping you remember what it's like to be in pleasure in your business. I help you in your business by helping you reconnect to your own voice and the magic and the medicine that lives within your own heart, because there's nobody else on this planet like you. There's nobody else with the specific set of nutrients that are being just transmitted from your essence, from your energy, from your voice, helping you reconnect with your power and your confidence and that deep self-trust in your own timeline that you are on time and that everything about you is right. There's no way that you've gone wrong. There's nothing that you've done wrong. And for a long time, I felt like I needed to lead with more of the like 3 tips to post, or like point and text real things. And it's like, no, fuck no, that's not that's not my medicine. I'm not meant to like make dancing reels where I point at text. I'm meant to make dancing reels that are raw and real and capture Shakti and capture the essence of the divine feminine. Like that's the kind of content I'm meant to create. And because I felt like I didn't see anyone else doing it that way, I felt scared to be the one to go first, to be the leader without a template, the leader without a blueprint, which is something one of my friends, Lopa, said to me once. And in this year, that's been my magic edge, has been leaning into not being afraid to be a leader with no template. I don't know where I'm going. And yet the deepest part of me does. Even if logically I can't make it make sense, the deepest part of me knows where I'm going, and I get to trust that. And one, that's part of the medicine of Naughty Content Challenge. That is also the medicine that's weaved into all of my work, whether it's my one-to-one or my mastermind or my group programs or my free breathwork ceremonies. It's always tied back to inviting you to connect more deeply with your own heart, to be in closer relationship with your own soul, to feel grounded and safe, to be seen exactly as you are, to be seen, heard, valued, and paid for your innate gifts. That's what everything is about. That's what this podcast is about. But the lessons that I learned from taking a month off of my business, one, I realized that it's really just it's not a big deal to take time off of your business. And this could be a few days off social media. This could be a week where you cocoon and devote to just painting art or writing a book or writing a mystery, fantasy, erotic novel. I don't care. But taking time off of your business is actually so fucking beautiful. And again, it doesn't have to be like taking a whole month off like me, but have you thought about recently like taking yourself on like a little mini retreat, even if it's just taking a day off of your business or 2 days off of your business during the week, and instead of doing your usual activities like creating content or making reels or having client calls or whatever it is that you do in your business that I'm sure you fucking love. And this is also a great opportunity to take inventory. Do you love all the things that you're doing in your business? And if not, is there anything that gets to shift so you can say, yeah, fuck yeah, I love the things that I'm doing in my business. But one, it's even if you love it, right? Because, back at the end of last year, I loved so many aspects of my business. I loved the clients that I was working with. I loved the offerings that I created, like Naughty Content Challenge, the challenge that I was launching at the time when I decided I needed a break, that I wanted a break. I fucking love this program. It's one of my favorite programs I've ever created. I feel like it's my gift to humanity. It's my gift to any entrepreneur out there who has ever felt that voice of, well, I don't know what to say, come up when you go to create content, or that voice that feels like you get sucker punched in the gut by the metrics when you see only X number of people have liked your stories. Naughty Content Challenge is the antidote to all the fucking bullshit and all the rules and the constrictions and the threads that hold you small. Naughty Content Challenge is this elixir of fire for your self-expression and spirit to remind you who the fuck you are and why your voice fucking matters. And while I'm at it talking about Naughty Content Challenge, Happy Whole Life Membership is the sister program to Naughty Content Challenge, if you will. It is the opportunity for live support, opening your content channel via breath work, connecting to the cosmic consciousness and all of the ideas, opening your channel to receive just the truest downloads of where it is you want to be spending your time, what it is you want to be doing, what programs it is you want to be launching, what it is you want to be saying in your content, and also connecting you to the bigger picture of why. Why does it matter? Because when you're connected to that part of you that knows why it is your secret soul flame is burning so brightly for this thing, for this business, for this program, for whatever it is, it invites you to keep going. It gives you the energy and the ambition and the drive and just the devotion to say, I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep going because this is my soul's work and it fucking matters. In a membership, we also do EFT tapping embodiment ceremonies where we ground safety into your nervous system to feel safe to be seen, to feel safe to be in radiant health, to feel safe to be heard, to have your voice be received by hundreds of people, thousands of people, however many people you want to reach. And we also have sensual dance and ecstatic dance ceremonies where we get the energy moving, where we connect you to that inner celebration, that part of you that is alive. And that's what those dance ceremonies are about. And the Happy Whole Life membership is connecting you to your aliveness such that you're no longer waking up and asking the question of like, I don't know what to say. What do I want to do? Where do I want to go? Instead, you let your soul move you. You let your body move you. You let your excitement move you. And that's really, again, one of the most important lessons that I learned from taking a break in my business was to notice and discern what is leading me right now. And as I said, lesson one, it's so safe to take breaks from your business when you want it, when you desire it. No matter how short that break might be, I think it's so healthy. The same way, like I was just in Austin at a retreat and I was away from my husband for almost a week, and it gave me an opportunity to really miss him and to treasure the connection that we have together and to think of him and be so excited to see him again. And it's not a bad thing to miss the people and the things that we love. And with your business, it's not a bad thing to miss your business for a moment. Or maybe even in a break, you discover actually a little space is really healthy in this season, right? And there's a plane going overhead. Hello, plane. So noisy. An opportunity to vocal release. So as you're listening to this episode, notice, does your body want to like do a little wiggle? Do you want to do a little soul purr and check in? When you purr, does that purr feel genuine? And if you can't roll your R's and do the maybe you go like like one of my friends does. Oh, I love you. Okay. Anyways, lesson number one. Okay, recap. Lesson number one, it's so safe to take breaks from your business. Lesson two, I'm tuning back into what it was I just said. So in case you haven't noticed with these episodes, I just let my channel flow. I don't have notes. I don't know what I'm going to say. It's simply this is what's alive and present in this moment, and this is what you need to hear. So I'm going to roll with it and trust. And so I've forgotten literally lesson two that I was saying, but just tuning back in from the distraction of the beautiful plane. Also, I invite you to collect evidence that it doesn't all have to be perfect either. Like in your business, for example, me losing my train of thought during a podcast episode doesn't mean that my podcast is, hi, Luna P, come to sit in my lap is less valuable, or that you're on the other side of the screen going, oh, how fucking annoying that Michelle lost her train of thought and now I'm having to listen to her babble. Maybe you're thinking that, and that's fine. But just a reminder that it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be staged. It doesn't have to be scripted. And if having scripts or notes and things like that supports you, whether you're going live or whether you're having a podcast interview or whether you're recording content for, module in your program, that's beautiful. And things tend to move a lot more easily in business when we're not caught up with it needing to be perfect or needing it for it to be overly edited. All right. And I'm just going to tune back into the aliveness of taking this month off. One other really important thing that I learned was the power of my own presence. And what I mean by this is, sometimes in life it can feel like you're on this never-ending roller coaster And the roller coaster is so fucking fun. Like you're like, wait, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying the, like climbing up the hill and just the anticipation of what it's going to be like at the top. And I'm excited to like whoosh, like just like blast off and down and upside down and into space. And I'm so excited. And as much as it's fun to be on the beautiful ride of your business in life, it's also so fun to have a moment where you're experiencing something different. Because having a novel experience in those moments, it invites us to connect with something new, something different, something outside of ourselves that ignites something beautiful. So for example, for the longest time in my business, I felt like I was just like riding the waves and riding the waves and riding the launch and riding the money and riding the whatever. And taking a break from my business felt like for the first time, I was no longer like actively like looking for the next wave to ride. And instead I was like, I'm going to sit here and lay on my back and stretch my arms out again. And I'm going to float. And I'm going to let this water be this portal, this connection point, this anchor point between me and the earth, between me and the divine. And as I sit here and float in this water, I'm going to open myself to the downloads, to the wisdom, to the information that I need to know in this season, from my guides, from my ancestors, from spirit, from my own heart. And again, even if it feels good right now as you listen to this episode, what would happen if you simply closed your eyes, placed your hands on your heart, and just tuned in and noticed, what is it that I'm craving in my business right now? Are you craving a season of softness? Are you craving a soul slap to get you moving? Are you craving a fire under your ass? Are you craving a new era, a new chapter, a new niche, if you will? Are you craving to change up your branding? Are you craving to keep moving exactly as you are and just trusting the day-to-day flow? What is it that you want? And if you visualize yourself simply floating in a pool of water, crystal clear, and like the beautiful turquoise of the ocean, what comes through? What does the earth want you to know? What do your guides want you to know? What do your ancestors want you to know? What does your business want you to know? And this is final thing that is coming through to share is, when you're an entrepreneur and you're running this business, the way that I see it, the way that I feel it is that I'm co-creating with my business, and my business has her own soul. And sometimes in the past, when I was like, go, 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 hustle, 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 make more money than you did the last month, right? That's just kind of like, meh. Like, I'm all here for having goals and ambitions. And sometimes when those goals and ambitions cloud out our joy and our pleasure, it's like, we need to reorient a bit and drop back into the joy and into the pleasure. And sometimes, I'll be honest, there have been seasons of my business where there's been a lot of grit, and there's been a lot of, fuck, this is uncomfortable, but I'm going to do it. And it didn't all feel pleasurable, and it didn't all feel enchanting. So one important note that I want to make is that, as with, I'm thinking of this analogy of riding waves in the ocean. It's fucking delicious, right? To be in the ocean, riding the waves, and occasionally a wave might catch you off guard, and you might have a little bit of a tumble, and it might be like fucking uncomfortable, and you might have to hold your breath underwater for a moment, and you're like, fuck, I did not like that. But it was all part of the bigger picture, right? It was all part of you becoming a stronger swimmer, a more competent mermaid, if you will. And so just noting that this podcast episode, it's not about everything always needing to feel like cashmere kitties all the time, but more just this invitation to take inventory of how you're feeling, and if there is something that gets to shift, what gets to happen within you so that shift fucking happens, and you're not just wallowing and being wishy-washy with yourself and what you really want, right? It's, what does it take for you to not be afraid to get a little bit tossed around in the ocean sometimes, when it means you're building resiliency, you're sharpening your skill sets, you're becoming a more seasoned, strong, resilient entrepreneur. Right. And the last thing that I want to drop in for you is the word resiliency. Resiliency in business. And what I mean by that is not being afraid to fall on your face, not being afraid to get it wrong, not being afraid to get a little bit lost sometimes, because I'll be honest, taking a month off my business, I did feel kind of lost, and it did feel a bit difficult to drop back into the flow of creating content and launching programs and being in my business. And I wouldn't have done anything differently. I wouldn't have changed anything, because what I've learned in this season of softness that I've been in for the last few months is that I have a bigger vision for my business and my life that I don't feel I would have connected to unless I took this time off. And that bigger vision I have for my own business is to do more in-person work, to bring more of my business offline, and have more of my business be online in the realms of running retreats, sensual embodiment retreats, HIIII life retreats, facilitating breath work and tapping and ceremony in person more, because it's just a nourishment and nutrient that my soul wants. And again, this final idea that your business is meant to nourish you as well. And if you're not currently feeling nourished by your business, what gets to shift so that you're clear on the nutrients that you're receiving from your business, whether that's the nutrient of being financially provided for in your business, the nutrient of feeling really free in your self-expression, the nutrient of getting to share your soul gifts with people who are more than ready to receive them, whatever it is. So just tuning in if there's any last pieces that want to come through. Really today, I just wanted to pull back the veil a little bit and just share that I felt really lost in my business earlier this year. And through the portal of rest and not being afraid to take a step back, I feel more connected to my business, my purpose, my mission than I have ever in my entire life. In all these 5 years of running my business, I feel so dropped in. So it's my invitation to you. One, feel free to tag me, take a screenshot of the podcast. I'm like doing like little screenshots with my fingers for those that are watching on YouTube, but take a screenshot of anything that resonated with you, or sharing your stories, and tag me so I can shout you out. Also, a reminder that we are moving over to @HIIII Instagram and letting my @Michelle.Etchison Instagram become a backup, a portal for erotic poetry. Who knows? We'll find out what I want to do with that account. But my final invitation to you is to just tune into your heart. Imagine you are floating in a body of water, crystal clear. Taking a few deep breaths, connecting to your heart, your third eye, your throat, any part of you that is just wanting to be activated, be awakened, and simply asking this question of, where is delight? Where is pleasure? Where is enchantment? Where does it live in my body? Where does it live in my business? And if you want it to take up more space, if you want it to be a bigger part of the room, is there anything that you get to let go of? Any patterns, any ways of being on social media, on your Instagram, in the way that you launch, in the way that you sell, in the way that you show up? Is there anything that leads you to feel constricted? And if so, what gets to shift so that you may open? What parts of you need to feel safe so that you may open? And I'd love to hear from you. So feel free to DM me with any takeaways or anything that's on your heart. And we will wrap up this episode here so that I can go enjoy the sunshine. All right, beauties. Thank you so much for listening. We'll speak soon.